Hello everyone, we're going to be doing the seemingly impossible, such as outrunning the bear on a motorcycle. You know, the bear went over the mountain to see what he could see, you know, straight out of Green Jello Fare from the Dumb and Dumber soundtrack. I've seen that movie countless times, even the sequel and the offshoot movie. But let's check this out. We're going to go to Ridge Racer here from my history, and we're running this on PCSX HD Extreme. Another cool thing about it used to be Green Jello as the band, but then, of course, the real company sued them, so they changed the name to Green Jelly. It's not the first time they got in trouble. They used a Metallica riff in one of their songs, and it is what it is, I mean. But fun band. They're a lot like Guar in tonality, and, of course, stuff like their theatrical performances. I mean, they actually looked up to Metallica, but Metallica didn't want to have much to do with them after they took one of the riffs and put them in their songs. But, Whip Me Chest Vader, and it kind of reminds me of this. Like, you had the one song which is very, very sexual in nature, but the way the narrator in this specific game right here, this Namco game talks, it's very, very sexual in nature. It's like an Ex Machina style thing.
And let's get it on.
Really? Whose idea was this? Start your engines and let's get it on.
3,
what the hell is going on there?
1,
but Namco's behind. Oh, I messed that up. But normally if you do 3, 2, 1 contact, if you do the precise acceleration at the moment you get to that contact point, you get a nice little boost. And this works in many, many games there. We're running 60 frames per second and 640, 1040 resolution. Something that is pretty much nearly impossible in previous releases on many of the other minis. But I actually took the time to overlook the code and optimize, fix things up accordingly, so we can run 99.5% of the PlayStation 1 category library at 60 frames per second. And HD mode activate 640, 1040 versus the 320 times 240, which many of the other original games used to have. Whoa, what a bad power slide. And many people on the Mega Drive SNES Classics were stuck at 320 times 240, but I was able to get games running at HD mode activate between 30 and 60 frames per second, depending on the game. Obviously, games like Die Hard Trilogy, and, you know, the great first-person shooter mode was awesome, but every time there's an explosion, the game would slow down. But I was able to optimize it where it runs seamlessly at all points, mode activated. Oh, almost had that. And here's the other thing that's cool. I mean, the person who recommended this, I'm going to show you how powerful this is. And I actually did put out the HD Extreme Core a couple years ago, but there are a few issues when you try running, like, cinematics where it actually slowed them down to a slideshow, but I was able to work out the timing, and then I reposted this in the last year, and it's going to be going out with the Amiga 500 Mini as well. But right here, if you typically take the audio synchronization down, it really won't make a difference on the audio as far as like some of the other releases, but I changed the timing accordingly, so watch what happens now. Look at this. 130 plus frames per second. You're going to notice a little pause every few seconds here. What this really is, it's dynamic recompiler, which is recalculation of the data on the fly. So basically, in order to recalculate the data in the game, it needs to stop for a split moment. Kind of like somebody who stops, lifts their legs up in the air, and lets the fart out real quick. So call it like a redynamic fart recompiler or such. But yeah, that's what it is. And some games, unfortunately, have this to a worse degree, and it really affects your RAM usage. So if you have 256 megabytes of RAM on something like the Mega Drive SNES Classics, it becomes a problem with games like Paper Mario and, of course, Killer Instinct for Nintendo 64, where Dynamic Recompiler has to recalculate every 15 to 30 seconds, whereas games like Mario Kart 64, Mario 64 could go hours without having to pause it. But check this out. I'm going to go to another shader. Here's where it gets really awesome. Check this out. We're going to do two things there. Speaking of Pac-Man in general, there's this great shader called Blinky. It gives it kind of like a psychedelic type thing. It works great on racing games and Mario 1, etc. But check this out. Look how beautiful this is. And try it on mini games. It's called Blinky. Named after the Ghost in Pac-Man. And you're going to see something else very cool here. Obviously, we don't have to run at this high frame per second if we don't want to. We can go at normal speed if we want to. But oh, look at that. It looks like an alien lair. That is beautiful. I'm really looking up the end here. I feel like I'm playing Res with a car right now. But we're going to go into shaders again. Load shader. And have you watched like the Prometheus and then the Alien movies, all that fun stuff, all the Predator movies? I mean, even Louis Gossett Jr., Predator 2. We're going to go to something which is nearly impossible to run on many of the minis, but we're going to be running a cel-shaded shader, and we're going to see how Ridge Racer looks in cel-shaded awesomeness here. It should literally and theoretically slow the game down to maybe 5 to 10 frames per second. Let's see what happens. Okay. Okay. Oh, wow, that is beautiful. Look at that. I'm going to just enjoy the scenery here. Ridge Racer in a cartoon form. That is beautiful. They really should have done one of the Ridge Racer games as a cartoon. They do have, what is your favorite cel-shaded game? I think the X13 game is one of my favorite cel-shaded games. I'm running like the high frame per second here. Look, 160 frames per second. So I'm trying not to go too quick here. Final lap! You can see the dynamic recompiler being a thorn in the side right here. It doesn't affect many other games. I mean, let's try this out for a moment here. We're going to go with low con. And here's the thing here. In the older releases with RetroArch, anytime you tried tuning the shaders and such, you'd exit the game, you come back, and it would be stuck on the shader. Imagine if you did the cel-shaded shader on the Mega Drive Mini. Yes, it's a tongue twister. You might load the game back up and be at 5 frames per second, and the navigation of the RetroArch menus would be like, and you can't do anything. Here, when you restart RetroArch, it wipes it to a clean slate each and every time. So if you mess it up, just restart RetroArch or exit the game and you're back to square one. Now we're going to go low content start directory and we're going to do another PlayStation 1 game here. But Ridge Racer is 60 frames per second, and untethered, uncapped, you're able to run at 130 plus frames per second. Now we're going to do another game, Gran Turismo 2 arcade mode. We're going to run this with the same core, the HD Xtreme. Make sure we get it. There we go. And let's see how this runs. I'm not too concerned with shaders on this one for now. I mainly just want to show you some of them on the Ridge Racer. But there are many, many other countless racing games you can run. Like, two of my favorite ones are InGen Racing, and I'm a big, big fan of course, RC to Go, which is the spiritual successor to RC Pro Am, made by Taito. It's an arcade port for PlayStation 1. But let's see how this runs. Okay. Hell yeah. 60 frames per second. When I last tested this game on the Mega Drive Mini, it was at, they'd be like 48 frames per second with the HD Extreme core. Road race, do difficult professional mode. Would use the sports car class. We want a Cobra. And this is cool. Like, my new job, I drive over an hour a day to and from work. And I've been running into like literally some of the fanciest cars ever. I mean, I'm running into like Supras, Dodge Vipers, etc. I at least see one of these cars like at least 2 times a week, and I'm sure those of you who live like in California, etc., are seeing this type of stuff too. I mean, what is the coolest car you've ever seen on the freeway? One time when the person was driving the purple Dodge Viper, and yes, if I ever won the lottery, I'd get a Dodge Viper purple. It'd be so amazing. But I tried getting a good picture or video of the damn car, but the guy was driving like 120 miles an hour, you know, having fun, as you will. Let's see how this runs here. Let's try doing that start here. 3, 2, 1. There we go. We got a decent start. And you might notice there's 2 different types of artificial intelligence racing games. Gran Turismo has predestined AI, whereas it is the same every time. And if you upgrade your vehicles, you could decimate the competition. When you play games like Need for Speed, the cars are rubber band connected to you, so they'll go through walls and just always catch up to you no matter what. But 60 frames per second, Gran Turismo 2. Oh yeah, I was using the wrong thing here. I have my analog and my D-pad, and I was using the wrong one here, so I kind of lost control for a moment there. Oh yeah, and what is your favorite racing game of all time? I'm trying to think. Actually, for me, it's the original RC Pro Am on Nintendo, and I tried beating that game many times, got up to stage 28 over and over again, and then I finally got to stage 29 and realized that the game literally is a vicious cycle of repeats, just like doing a little circle there. But yeah, 60 frames per second, Gran Turismo 2. What else do we have? And here's the other cool thing about the RetroArch here. Check this out. It goes to the last game you loaded right there. So you're in the same directory. It remembers the directory. Another game that had issues is Jumpin' Flash. And the other thing I used to do way, way back is when we only had 200 megabytes of memory on the Mega Drive SNES Classics, I actually did ripping tutorials where you remove the music in videos, and I got games like Ridge Racer, for example. I have Ridge Racer here at only 2 megabytes in size. Yes, it is literally just 2 megabytes. It's like a ROM. It is so small in nature. That is why you're able to load the entire game into the internal memory of the PlayStation 1. Pop the tray open and put it in a Metallica disc and play Enter Sandman while you're playing Ridge Racer. But I did this with Ridge Racer 1, Revolution, Type 4. I mean, all these are literally rips where I rip the music and all that fun stuff out. Here's the other cool thing you're going to be able to do with the release there. There are games that do not run on this core at all due to dynamic recompiler issues. I have them run a different way on a different core. Watch this. WWF in your house. And we're going to be running this on Project PSX Xtreme, a.k.a. Dark Station, a.k.a. Swan Station, but with my personal tweaks for the Amiga 500 Mini. Let's check this out. This is a game that it was always going to crash along with like games like Judge Dredd, some of the NBA Live games, and even the Formula games. So games that have issues on the PCSX code and with the dynamic recompiler, you can run on this core right here. So check this out. For the most part, you can get to the menu here, and then it crashes every time. But we're running full speed mode activate with the Project PSX Dream core. So let's do this for a moment as our final thing here. If there's any other games you want to see demonstrated, let me know. But many of the games that have had issues in the past are running seamless now. And there's a really nifty code you could use on this game to do like quick one-button fatalities. We'll do Shawn Michaels here. Why not? Yes, it never even makes it this far. It crashes on the PCSX coding. Okay. See if I can do anything. Heartbreak Kid. And the other game that had issues on the dynamic recompiler cores is obviously Night Raid, a Takumi shmup. Look at it, 60 frames per second, easy peasy. If you ever played WWF, the arcade game, this is literally the follow-up sequel to it. Ultimate Warrior! And I love the documentary about Ultimate Warrior and Mike Tyson. I mean, these are larger-than-life characters, just like Elvis Presley, Michael Jackson, etc. I mean, they're few and far between throughout the course of life. I mean, how many larger-than-life characters can you name nowadays? I mean, that are in contrast comparison to somebody like the Ultimate Warrior. Yeah! And we're going to do another game here. That played perfectly. Star Trek 3, and we're on there. We're going to do Night Raid real quick, another game that had issues. Okay, and Judge Dredd also plays fantastic on this course. So, yeah, you have like 50 to 100 games that are going to be all fixed up with this core right here. And it ran really, really slow because it had issues with software and hardware mode, but I got it running fantastic on the Amiga Mini. It is perfect right now. Okay? And Jedi Power Battles has its own set of fixes. You can run that on here just fine, too. Takumi for the win. And Topon is a great shmup company, and they divided into other companies. That company went defunct. And we have Takumi, who made this game, and they also made a Sailor Moon side-scrolling brawler for MAME, of all things. But still a fun game. I love my side-scrolling brawlers. One of my favorite side-scrolling brawlers of all time is actually Night Slasher. It's a great title game. It's almost like playing Walking Dead, Evil Dead. It's a side-scrolling brawler. You even have fight monsters again, like Frankenstein, Dracula, etc. And speaking of which, you actually did a fan-made homebrew game for Nintendo where you actually fight Dracula, Frankenstein, etc. I wonder if I still have that in my collection here. I'm going to have to look. It may or may not be in my collection. But yes, we're running 60 frames per second Night Raid as well. Since we're jumping around here, I'm going to see if I have that other game in my list here. Fire! Oh yeah, great game. Never gets old. Play full speed, definitely. Bullet hell for the win here. It's like the original Ikaruga Radiant Silver Gun. And I've heard that Radiant Silver Gun is supposed to, or Ikaruga, vice versa, are supposed to be a follow-up sequel to one another, whichever one came out first and last. Okay, yeah. Let's see about that game I was talking about, because my favorite Nintendo game is Mike Tyson's Punch-Out! And the last thing I'm going to talk about here is going to be some latest movies and such. I'm watching Stranger Things Season 4 right now, and I'm loving that. I'm not going to say much more than Dungeons and Dragons element here. Let's try Nintendo. I don't know if I have the game here. Jeez. Oh, we can do one other thing here, though. This is going to run slow, by the way, but the other thing you couldn't really run is like HD soundtrack games with messing core on the other minis, but here you can actually get away with some of the stuff. I mean, I'm going to try doing Metroid in HD right now. Check this out. Let's see. I think it's this way. We're going to run this with Messin right now. Again, this is not going to be full speed, but it's still amazing because it's basically a palette swap, as you'll see in a moment here. Look at this. All the palettes for the original game are swapped out. Again, this is not going to be full speed. This is something that is very, very memory intensive, but on the other mini classics, it runs at maybe 1 to 2 frames per second. It's literally like going through a slideshow. But here, it actually just shows you how powerful this system is at 1.8 gigahertz. You can actually do stuff. It feels like you're actually playing it here. But yes, we're playing the original Nintendo game of Metroid right now, but with all the palettes in the game swapped out with HD palettes. So it's still a cool proof of concept video. Look at that. Still amazing for what it is, even though it's not full speed. If you try running this on the other mini classics, you won't even be able to jump. You'll basically push the jump button, go to the bathroom, get a sandwich, go have a poop break or whatever, come back, and you'll still be like 1/4 inch off of the ground. It's that slow. Let's see what else we can do as a quick demonstration here. Low content soundtrack 3. Another thing I really, really like, I think I have it on here. Parent directory. See if I have this on here. I might not have it on this one, but I'm going to do one other like demonstration here. So many things I could showcase there. So many things. How about this? I got one. We'll try doing we're going to do Sonic the Hedgehog arcade game as our final thing here. I think I have it in here. Right here. This is a game that also ran abysmally well. You could fully play it with the update with the Neo Extreme Core. Check this out. Do this for a brief moment. I mean, there's just so many things I can showcase there. Okay, I'm ready. If you try to run this on MAME 2003 or 2003 Extreme or Plus, the game crashes when you get to that stage. Here, it's very, very memory intensive, but I got it running better than it usually does. This is awesome. You can actually play the game. And have you seen the Sonic 2 movie yet? The Sonic 1 movie? I like the first one. I mean, Jim Carrey doing old classic Jim Carrey Dumb and Dumber style or Matt style for the win. Now, one of my favorite classics of his is the Cable Guy movie. Remember that with Matthew Broderick? That was